Hello, everyone. It is back. I'm back. It's been a couple of days. Just been working around the house a ton, and just didn't too much time to do live streams. So anyway, it's Memorial Day, and I hope everyone thinks about the veterans and all the good stuff that is associated with Memorial Day and the people that make this country what it is. And not going to be a political thing, but I tried to sign up for the military when I was younger, and they wouldn't take me because I had a loose ACL. I played a lot of basketball, and anyway, they wouldn't take me. And so I went off and went back to woodworking. Did the woodworking thing for a long time. I was going to go work on Humvees, but it just wasn't going to happen. So anyway, I went and did the woodworking thing, and they told me that I'd never be able to do much running, and that my knee was basically screwed and all that kind of stuff. And I ended up going on to do 50-mile runs, ultra marathons, 24-hour endurance events, just all kinds of stuff, So I think the military really missed out. They really undersold what I was able to do later on in life. So anyway, so the talk today is going to be too many ideas, not enough freaking resources. This is a constant struggle, I think, with business owners and people that are just creative in general. Like, we just have so many freaking ideas, and we want to do so many things, but we're always constrained by stuff. And truth is that, man, it's no different with me. I've got so many projects going on. I've got so much work, and yet there's either not enough people, there's not enough money, or there's not enough time, right? Like, these are the kind of the things that always get people. And truth is that, like, I have enough of each of everything by itself, but I need more of everything all at once. Anyway, it's just a constant struggle. So anyway, that's what we're gonna talk about today. We're talking about resources. I'm gonna tell you guys some of the things that I'm struggling with as a business owner and furniture maker, and we'll talk about kind of what I'm thinking about when I want to try and grow this company and continue doing what it is that we do here, which this is, I like to think of my company as a legacy company, or it will become a legacy company. And that's basically a company that lives beyond its owner. And that's really what I want. I want my business to either be sold to somebody else and the name of the Resplendent Crow lives on, or I want it to be passed down to our kids, right? So that they can then run this business and carry on that name. That's very important to me. And I don't know if it'll happen, but it is something that I'm working on. I think about it a lot. And so anyway, my name's Eric Wilkin. I own the Resplendent Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri. We're a small furniture company, and we got 7-8 employees at this point, and it's a small 7-figure business, and it's a good middle-class living. It's a lot of work, but I wounn't do anything else. It's fun, and it's exciting, and it's very fulfilling. Like, that's the thing I think a lot of people don't understand about work today. Is a lot of people's work, I don't think, is very fulfilling. And you probably don't know it until you actually get to do something that yields you a benefit that is greater than money. Money is obviously fantastic, don't get me wrong, but there's things that are far and away better than money. So anyway, that's what we're talking about. That's who I am. And again, it's a good business. We do probably 500 pieces a year, and I make a ton of custom furniture. I make production line furniture, but it's all made right here in St. Louis, Missouri. We do it all in our factory right here in University City, behind the Del Mar Loop. And I am working to outsource things. I'm working to CNC cut things. I'm working on training new people. And truth is that it's just always a freaking struggle. So anyway, we got people coming in, all kinds of goofball comments. Let's see here. Yo, man, did you beat your meat yet today? Oh my goodness gracious. We got avatars. Okay, so we got the winners in here first thing off. That's good. Add to the comments, guys, hit the like button, and let's kick this thing around a little bit. So truth is that the issue that I have right now, I wrote a bunch of things down. So the things I'm running into right now is there's not enough production work to warrant hiring another full-time cabinet maker, right? Or furniture maker, and the truth is that there's plenty of money today, right? But when I hire people, I generally try and hire people to work full-time and forever. I don't intentionally hire people with the intent of them working 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever. I'm not a contract hiring kind of guy. Because the truth is that when you make things for a living, like we make furniture here, right? When you make furniture, it takes a long time to teach somebody how to do this stuff. And what I'm finding out today is that most people that say they're furniture makers are at best cabinet makers, right? And at worst, they're basically just a glorified helper, right? And it's not to denigrate anybody, but the truth is that most people oversell what it is that they could do. And it's very difficult as someone that hires people to waste your time dealing with a lot of these people. And I've done a ton of talks at this point, talking about the different people and kind of the problems that a lot of people have. Most people think that they're super good at what they do and they're super reliable and that they just bring a whole bunch of value to the company. And truth is that most people do the exact opposite. In fact, they're a drain on your company. They're a drain on the people around you, and they're just not worth what they want to make nowadays. And it's a major problem, guys. So anyway, the point is that the way that this business makes money is we do production-based new furniture, right? We have custom furniture, which everyone knows what custom furniture is. Everyone always talks about new custom furniture. We also do vintage furniture, right? So we take that furniture, people send it to us, we fix it up, we paint it, we send it back to them. It's a fantastic business model. But then we also have 200 pieces on site here at our factory that we also sell on the internet, right? So we can drag any one of those pieces down at any point in time, fix it up, paint it, and deliver it to someone's home if they buy it. So we have all these different kinds of ways to make money. And the truth is that the money's generally pretty good. We do have that money, but it's just very difficult to hire people for a specific revenue stream, And truth is that I could hire somebody that has a ton of custom making furniture, making skills, right? But those people are very difficult to find because most people don't really know how to make things today. And I've seen it. I mean, I can show you guys over in here. I tried to have some people make me some dressers, so that I didn't have to just make them. I could just have them basically pre-manufactured in West Virginia, but it's just nothing but pocket screws. It's all pocket screws, guys, and it's all CNC cut garbage that is basically meant to go together like an erector set. And technically speaking, that should be fine. But when you look at it, it looks like shit. It's an eyesore. It looks like some robot or some goofball put it together in their garage. It doesn't look like fine furniture, which is very difficult, So again, I could hire somebody for, maybe 30, 35 bucks an hour, but when you're trying to hire someone to make custom furniture, you have to have really good engineering, and I do all my own engineering. I use SolidWorks. It's a very well-known program. It's fantastic for creating models and all kinds of engineering, but it requires a lot of time in order to generate that engineering, right? And when you hire someone to custom make stuff, they have to have, some kind of north, right? Most people, you can't show them a picture and have them build it. A lot of people like to say, oh yeah, I can totally do it. They're full of shit. They're absolutely full of shit. And the way they're full of shit is because they work for somebody else, right? Otherwise, they'd be doing it for themselves. But the point is that there's very few of us that can take an idea on a napkin and turn it into a work of art. It's very difficult to find those people. So I could hire that person, but then again, my custom work will probably fall down. Then I'm paying some guy really expensive money to make production furniture, or sand. And it's a real struggle, and I need to work on it. And it's one of these things that I'm gonna try and do better at. So okay, more comments coming in. Jay, business in St. Louis. Good luck, Sarah. Peace. Yeah, thanks, Jay. St. Louis, Missouri. Right here back behind the loop in University City. And we got about 12,000 square feet. And it's just an old industrial building. We're owned, the building's owned by a company called Winco, which is a giant window making company. And I think they were going to get rid of this building at one point. We ended up renting it out, cleaning it up, and it's been fantastic. So, okay, Brave and Wilds. Okay, yeah, Brave and Wilds. Okay, I think a lot of people get on these streams. They're starving for attention or for interactions with people, and I don't quite understand what that is, but I don't know. To each his own, I guess. So anyway, hit the like button, and we'll continue. So point is that, yeah, it's very difficult to find people to do really good quality, high-end, custom-made furniture, because truth is that most people that think they're furniture makers are basically like kitchen cabinet makers. They're people that are good at taking a box that's pre-cut, putting it all together. The parts are auto squared and everything's doweled and pocket screwed together. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but these people aren't furniture makers, right? They're not quite at the level that you need to be in order to do what it is that we do here at the Resplendent Grow. And I got a buddy who's in the same boat. He builds crazy custom one-off projects, and finding people is just so difficult, and that's why I'm always preaching to people, like parents, if you got kids, get them into the trades young, get them into making shit. And don't be afraid to let them stay home. We let these kids go to college now for 4, 5, 6 years rack up, $100,000 in debt. And then when they get out of school, they're worthless. I mean, they're only useful to a handful of people, right? Whereas if you just get your kids, making stuff when they're really young, let them stay home for 4 or 5 years, let them build up a reputation and learn a trade, and they'll have no debt, right? They'll actually be making $50, $60, $70, $80,000 a year, and then they can successfully enter into society and be useful to a lot of people, and they'll have a lot of skills because they're in the trades and they know how to fix things. They know how to go to work and just deal with problems all day long and fix problems and basically create stuff out of nothing. They can fix anything. They can make anything. It's a very useful set of skills. And yeah, I don't know. Parents just want to send their kids to school nowadays. And I know that's what everyone's been told for a long time. But, my dad from a very young age, I remember back in the 90s, told me, no, don't do it, man. Like, don't go to school. It's not worth it. And he was right. I mean, say what you will about my dad, but I mean, he was 100% right. So anyway, back to what I was talking about here. I guess I'll have a beer real quick. So ultimately, everything that I'm going to talk about today, at the very end of my notes, I basically just wrote down, like, I got 15 years left. I'm 45 years old. That means I got 15 good years left. I think 60 is probably a pretty good age. But I got 15 good years to either make this company sellable to somebody else, make the Resplendent Crow brand sellable to somebody, whether it's in North Carolina or out in California, or right here in St. Louis, whatever. I have to make this name so valuable that somebody will be willing to buy it, whether it's the customer base, whether it's the engineering, the IP from the different kinds of furniture that we build, the molding technology that we've acquired over the years. Like, I have 15 years to do that. Otherwise, I'm in trouble, right? Because truth is, I don't have a savings account, right? I don't have some big 401k or some big nest egg. Honestly, like, my parents are pretty well off, and I've always kind of held that in the back of my head that, if worse comes to worse, like, my parents are probably gonna leave me a shit ton of money, and I'm not that worried about it, but it's never been something that I've basically counted on, right? Like, I don't count on that. And point is that I have to make this company into something that can either be sold to somebody else, or I can potentially manage it later on in life, something like that, or I can give it to my kids, right? Our kids can take this company over and do something with it, and maybe we can, siphon off 10, 20 grand a month, and just live off that, I don't know. But point is that I've got 15 years to do this, and it's, it weighs on me a little bit, and the struggles that we deal with as craftspeople and makers of stuff, there's just not a lot of people that do it. And the people that do it, I think, are doing it because that's all that they know and that's all they've ever done. And no one's ever told them, like, no, you're not actually very good at this. You're basically just hired help. You're basically just a warm body to help out, to move the labor forward. And that's really about it. There's very few craftspeople, So I think that's one of the reasons that furniture making and welding and plumbing and all of these trades have just become in such crazy demand, is that we stop teaching people how to do this stuff. And I know there's craftspeople out there. I'm not saying there's not. It's just very difficult to find them. And I found a couple of them in my day, but it really weighs on me. It's like, how do I pass this on to somebody else, and even if it was like an employee, if I had an employee who I thought really wanted to take this company on, I would consider selling it or having an employee that steps up that could actually run this company. Like, I can't even find that kind of employee. I've literally tried to take people that I see something in, and I've really tried to help them take on the responsibility of running my company, and they just don't want it. Like, nobody wants to run a company or deal with employees or customers or deadlines. I don't know what it is. I don't know if anyone else sees what I see, but I think that the idea of a traditional type business is just nobody wants it anymore. And I don't know what people want, but the idea of coming into work every day, busting your ass, and making a really nice product and being well known for making that product, right? The respect and the recognition that comes from being the top of what you do is not worth anything to anybody today. It doesn't have the value that it had, at least when I grew up. I mean, This is funny. I'll tell you guys a side story real quick. There are more people coming in. Okay. What does it pay? Well, the question. Okay, so was this one man versus world? That's a good question, right? So Ben Rodriguez interview. So man versus world. When you say what does it pay, what exactly are you asking, right? Like what does what pay? You know, is that all that you care about? And if so, what does it take to make you care about running a company or being the best at what it is that you do? You know, what is it about the money? What is it that you're looking for? Is it just the money so that you can buy nice shit? Or is it to have the nice money so you don't have to think about bills? Is it to have the nice money so that you can, you know, send your kids to private school and then you can focus on whatever you want? Like, what's that mean? There's more to it. You're full of it. Okay, well, yeah, maybe. I've been doing this for a long time. I have an actual website. You can go to resplendentcrow.com and you'll see all the stuff that we sell. And we make it all day, every day, right? We're not some flash in the pan kind of thing. We've been here for a long time. I think we've been doing this for 8 years at this point. All right, Ben says it's everywhere. So yeah, Ben, what is everywhere? Had some cabinets built. They sucked. Now they put out. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's not to shit on anyone for trying to do something. There's nothing. There's actually that's very admirable that somebody would want to make cabinets and want to do a good job and just fail. Like that's one thing. A lot of people I think are just trying to get paid. Like they just want to make money and they don't have that wanting to be great. You know, which it's very difficult to pass on to people. It's very difficult to get across to people that being great at something is way more valuable than being rich. Like I promise. I promise. Like it's a very difficult thing to get around to people. Okay. Yeah, I've been talking about cabinets. What does it pay? Poor craftsmanship. Yeah, and you know, to be honest with you, like things like kitchen cabinet stay and like vanities and things like that are pretty basic, and they're almost they're all CNC cut at this point, which is fine. Most kitchen cabinets today, they're CNC cut, are fantastic quality. Most vanities that are CNC cut are fantastic quality. And a lot of your foreign made stuff, like the stuff that's coming out of Vietnam and Indonesia, it's fantastic quality. You know, people like to shit on that kind of stuff. But the truth is that the technology is getting better, and the craftspeople around the world have always been good, but we're just having more access to those craftspeople. And there's a lot of other avenues to buy really nice, good quality stuff. But what you're saying is that, yeah, if you're paying somebody, especially somebody here in America, really good money to make some cabinets for you, they're probably charging a lot of money. And there's an expectation of quality, right? And it's one of those things that is it's not subjective anymore. Like some people say, yeah, well, I thought it was high quality. This person didn't think it was high quality. Like, no, we all kind of know what quality is. You know it when you see it. And you can tell when something's actually handmade and somebody took a lot of time to make it versus something that was made in a factory by a computer and an assembly line of assemblers, right? Which is what the world has basically come down to. We have a society of assemblers, right? It's very, very rare to find somebody who's a true artisan or a true craftsperson, right? It's very difficult, but they're out there. Okay, see, poor craftsmanship. Yep. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Ben. I don't know where you're at, dude, but yeah, it sucks when that happens, and there's almost no recourse. You know, it's like you pay a certain amount of money for a product, and then the people are just gone. You know, or they don't. I mean, you can't squeeze blood from a turnip, right? So if you're gonna, charge someone 20, 30 grand to build some cabinets, and then you deliver a shit product, if you just live in a garage and you're a sole proprietor making stuff in your garage, I mean, there's very little for you to do as far as suing somebody. You just don't have a ton of recourse. That's too bad. Whereas someone sues a company like mine, we've been in business for a long time. We have, established customers, an established brand, an established facility. I mean, we have what's called the Lindy effect, right? We're well known. We have a lot to lose. So it's very easy to sue a company like me. So if we deliver a poor quality product, we're in deep shit. And that's really what it boils down to. I mean, we're in trouble. So truth is that we try our hardest to never ever deliver a product that a customer is even slightly unsatisfied with. That sounds almost like a talking point, but the truth is that you can deliver a really good, not only product, but a good experience when you're selling products, So anyway, okay, back to what I was talking about. So truth is that is that there's just not enough time and not enough money, not enough resources to do everything that I need to do as a business owner and as a furniture maker to grow this company to where it needs to be. And it's, man, it really sucks. And the truth is that I've talked about these crack loans for a long time. Truth is that we can get money. Like, it's so easy to get money now. I know rates are a little complicated, but these crack loan companies, I mean, they're still giving out money at like 7, 8, 9%. And so you can pull down, I don't know, $150,000 tomorrow. They'll just give it to you. And I could take that money and I could hire somebody and I could start making furniture and cabinets and stuff like that. And that would be great. But then I have a big draw on my revenue, right? So if sales slow down, you don't have a ton of capital to pull from, right? Because the capital is there to pay somebody to build furniture and then to build, to acquire materials and to basically make a certain amount of products in a certain amount of time in the hope that when those products come to fruition, there's a return on that excitement from seeing all those products, right? Put all that stuff out, that easy money, because you just don't know if it's going to yield what you want it to yield. So it's very tricky. And that's the thing about furniture. Furniture is one of these things where you can throw a product out there. And this is a very back-end thing, guys. So most people think of furniture makers as we make custom furniture, right? People see your work and then they come to you and they just want you to build them custom stuff, okay? It's a very difficult way to make a living, right? In fact, it's so difficult that most people aren't successful at it. The way that you make money in the furniture game is to make the same thing over and over again, which is the most unsexy thing that you can ever tell a furniture maker or a craftsperson. Like, you're a cabinet maker, you're gonna have to make the same mudroom cabinet for the next 5 years, right? And you're gonna make the same thing over and over again, and here, you're gonna make $150,000 a year doing it. Most of you are gonna be like, fuck that, I don't wanna do that, that sounds like death. And so that's when you become a business owner, and you find other people to do that, right? So that you can then focus on the fun stuff, which is what I'm gonna talk about now. Yeah, the truth is that in order to make money in furniture, you have to have production-based products, and you have to have products that you sell over and over again. And unfortunately, that's just how it is, right? Until you become like a YouTuber that makes, goofball projects that are entertaining, you can then sell like subscriptions, you can sell advertising for things that aren't even related to furniture. Once you do all that stuff, you can make that money, right? But until then, as a maker, you have to have production-based stuff. So what we do is we sell, basically I sell, I don't know, probably 100 to 150 pieces a year that are basically the same thing over and over again, constantly. I mean, this I got a vanity back behind here. See this? This is a 3-drawer X vanity. I probably sell a dozen, 2 dozen of those a year, and then I sell a version that has just doors, which I probably sell a dozen of those, and then I sell one that has the blank on top and then has 2 doors, and I probably sell 30 or 40 of those every year, right? And I make those things all year long, because the truth is that cabinet probably only cost me, probably cost me $1,200 to make it. By the time we buy the material, spend the time to make it, get the CNC parts, paint it, and then deliver it. I'd probably say it's probably more like $1,500 to $1,750, right? I sell that thing for that one's $4,200, right? So that money, so basically I'm making well over 100% on what it cost me to make that thing, right? And then I got to pay myself. I got to, do rent and insurance and all the, BS that goes with running a company. But the margin's pretty good on that thing. So that frees me up to then make this other product over here. So I'll flip my camera over here. So I'm gonna show it from behind. This is a pagoda top bamboo china cabinet, right? So truth is that if you go on the resplendentcrow.com, you can type in pagoda and you'll see that pagoda china cabinet, okay? Truth is that that's where the money's at. Because what's happening right now is basically anybody can make a credenza, and anyone can make a vanity, anyone can make just a whole ton of stuff today. And the way we know this is just go on Amazon, right? Go on Amazon, go on eBay, go on any of these Wayfair, Paragold, Etsy. Everyone and their brother is selling that kind of stuff, which is cool, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But the truth is that it all kind of looks the same. It's like same thing with these river tables. We see these river tables that are real popular, but when you look at them all, at the end of the day, they all kind of look the same. They really do. One might have a little different color, a little different wood, but they're all basically the same thing. Nobody makes faux bamboo furniture. Nobody, not in America. Nobody makes it, which is why I make it. We're known for making that kind of stuff. But the truth is that that's a 2-door china cabinet, which is cool. No one's making it. We're the only ones to make it. We can charge $8,000 to $10,000 for it. But I want to make a 4-door version, right? And that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of resources. It's not as simple as just doubling everything. There's a lot more that goes into making furniture, and that's where the design element comes in. And not enough people talk about the design thing. If you're in the feed right now, hit the like button, add the algorithm, and add to the comments, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are. But in order to make a 4-door china cabinet that's 7 feet across and 85 inches tall, you need a lot of design work, right? Because the proportions are all different. When you start growing something, everything changes, right? The pagoda hood on this thing goes from being a 48-inch, slanted pagoda hood that has different kinds of angles to being, 85 inches, long, and it changes everything. You gotta have all new jigs. You gotta have all new CNC programs, all new engineering, and that's the thing that I'm wrestling with right now. It's just having enough time to tackle all of these revenue streams and still have time to grow the company by making new products. And it's a constant struggle, y'all. It's like I want to bring somebody on just to make the normal stuff. And truth is, I've talked about this guy that I've had working for me for a long time. He's from Syria, came to America, and got his American citizenship. He's a fantastic furniture maker. And this guy can carve, he can do all kinds of fun stuff. And he's young. I want to say he's in his late 20s, right? And I see a lot of myself in this guy. And truth is that my business slowed down here about a year and a half ago, so much that I had to furlough people. I had to cut their hours way back. And he went and found another job because he was really good at what he does. And it pains me to this day that I haven't been able to get this guy back. But he comes and he works part-time for me. And so I'm slowly kind of working this guy up to eventually I'll have enough of these projects that he's going to say, you know what, I really want to come back to work for you. Because truth is that when you work in high production, manufacturing type environments, it's kind of soul crushing. So I think that I can get this guy back, but it'll probably take me another year to get him back. Because he wants benefits, he wants full health care, full dental. His wife doesn't work, right? Because they're from another country. They're, the way that they view the relationships between men and women, very different than what we are here in America. Here, we're very progressive. Over in the third world, it's the exact opposite. Every sex has a very specific role, and that's very different in America. So anyway, I'm gonna get the guy back. But point is that I need to be able to make all these projects, okay? And I'm just flooded with custom work, and I could 100% bring somebody on right now. I mean, I've got completely, we do crotch mahogany credenzas, sideboards. I got a 15-foot crotch mahogany custom massive table that I have to make, and we're probably gonna make this thing out of steel. We'll probably put steel on it, plywood everything, and then veneer it. Cap everything with mahogany hardwoods, make the bases out of solid mahogany. But it's just massive project, guys. I don't have the time to even build it because I still have the production stuff, which I have to build that, which is pretty easy for me. I mean, I can whip that stuff out pretty quick, but it's just, like I said, it's just constantly juggling all the work that needs to be done with the resources, right? If I take that money, I hire somebody, say $30 an hour, times that by 4, you're talking $1,200 a week, right? Just to keep that person busy, which isn't a problem in and of itself. But then you basically got to double that number because we have all the insurance, the cost of employing people, which nobody talks about, So it's probably more like $1,800 to $2,000 a week to keep that guy employed at my factory here. I got to keep those sales going. And that's the other thing. People don't talk about the sales side a lot, right? So then, well, can you sell an extra $2,000 a week in furniture? And the answer is, of course, yes, of course we can, but what's it going to cost, right? And then there's weeks where, again, sales move like this. And so many people want you to think that sales just go like this, right? I've had sales months where my sales have dropped 80% in 1 month, and for no reason. It's not like Trump came out and talked about tariffs or something. It's just people just are on vacation, right? When your clientele like mine is, we're basically we cater to the richest of the rich, right? The 1% of the 1% and the 1%. When those guys are on vacation, they're all gone. They're all on vacation, right? The summer months, they're all down in the Virgin Islands. They're off in Europe, and when it's like spring break, these people aren't buying furniture, right? So you can have entire months where you're doing, 100, 120,000 in sales, and it'll go down to 30, Okay, which is why I have all the product lines, right? I talked to you guys about. We do production-based furniture, which is a lot of that faux bamboo stuff. We do custom furniture. We have vintage furniture. We do customer vintage furniture, and then we sell hardware, right? So all these different product lines help to kind of, keep those ups and downs a little bit more kind of steady, But at the end of the day, cash crunches still happen, and so I'm constantly fearful that I'm going to run out of cash, no matter how much cash I have. One month I could have $200,000 in my bank account, but then another month I could have 50,000. Because the costs just of running a company just go up and down like crazy. I mean, it gets so expensive to run this business. Other months it can be a lot cheaper, but at the end of the day, everybody that you hire has to get paid whether you have work or not. And this is not a company where we just cut people's hours. If I don't have sales coming in, it's a situation where I will literally have to find work for people. I'll have them painting walls. I've had people make vanities for our bathrooms, right? So that, the bathrooms look really nice. I've had people do all kinds of goofy projects, work on the break room upstairs, repair windows, whatever I have to do to keep my employees going. Because like I was saying earlier in the stream, if you let somebody go, you don't know that you're gonna be able to find somebody again that can do everything that employee can do. And if you do find somebody, it may take a week, a month, or a year to find out that employee is actually a really good employee. So it's super tricky, guys. I mean, business is, god dang, it's so busy. And I'm talking about this as someone who's at the top of my game. Like, go on the resplendentcrow.com, guys. Like, you can go to the resplendenthome.com. We have all these different kinds of websites and things that we utilize. We're very high in the game of custom furniture, of high gloss lacquered furniture. We're not at the bottom by any means, and it's very difficult. And this is the unfortunate reality of a small business in America. There's just not a lot of easy ways to make money. Like we see in tech, right? We see people on YouTube making $100,000, $150,000 a year, talking into a camera, doing reaction videos, and all that stuff's great. But they're not making anything, right? They're just entertaining you. But the people that are actually making the stuff, it's very difficult to make the money. I mean, even to this day it is. So that's why I do these streams, guys. Like I just try to talk to people about the reality of making it in the furniture business and what it really takes. And like I said, I'm an open book. Like I talk numbers. I tell people what we make here, what kind of revenues are in, what I make, what my salary is. I talk about, how you can use your business to beat the tax code, right? To put more money in your pocket, work on your projects at home. But the truth is that, man, there's just not enough resources, guys. Like it's always, robbing from Peter to pay Paul, and not money. Just I'm talking about in time, in people. Like this weekend, like I'll tell you guys some of my projects real quick. Like I've got so many projects in the works that are not even, they're not paid for, right? These aren't things that customers want me to do. This is stuff that I want to do as a business owner and as an entrepreneur, like someone who just likes making stuff. Like at the end of the day, I'm a furniture maker. Like I just want to make furniture. That's all I want to do. I would love to have somebody just run my company so that I can just build shit all day long, because that's honestly what I would do. So I had this, I told you guys about the 4-door pagoda china cabinet, basically 7-8 feet long, 85 inches tall, probably 18 inches deep, massive project. That thing alone, so there's another side of furniture that I don't think people understand, okay? When you build something, right, you're building it for money. But there's probably 25% of everything I build I don't even try and sell it. It's just for engagement with your audience, okay? It's just to put on YouTube, to put on Instagram, Facebook, to show people what you can do, right? So my wife's kind of an influencer. Her name's Suchetta, and you can Google her, Suchetta Wilkin. Go to theresplendentcrow.com, you'll see her. But half of what she does is just put out content to bring awareness to the brand. She'll do videos about wallpaper, right? Which we have nothing to do with wallpaper, but we put wallpaper in our china cabinets. So she'll highlight wallpaper, maybe show some of it in a china cabinet, and that'll draw people into the Resplendent Home and the Resplendent Crow. So we do this stuff that has nothing to do with what we're selling necessarily, but it draws attention to what it is that we're doing. What do we got here? Who's this? Mooney 20 man, Kev from New Jersey. New Jersey, awesome, man. Thanks. Hi, Kev. Good to see you. Actually, I got a client in New Jersey on the coast there. I just did a bamboo cabinet for her. I'm going to do her kitchen in faux bamboo, so I will be in New Jersey. I forget the town. It's some little no-name town by Atlantic City or right on the coast. I mean, her house, panoramic view of the frickin' Atlantic. It's gorgeous. A lot of customers in New Jersey. But anyway, point is that to put all these projects together, we do it for engagement. It's not just to sell. Like, not every project that we do makes us money. It can take a year, it can take 2 years to make money on some of these projects that we just start, because it's just to show off what we can do. It's just to get engagement from people like, you guys watching this stuff. It's a side of the business that people don't see, and it doesn't pay at all. And some people might call it R&D, and there's a version of that which is R&D, but it's more about engagement, guys. It's more about just showing off what we do. Everyone knows that the Resplendent Crow is the king of high gloss lacquer, right? We're the king of the experience, so we're always showcasing how we deliver things. The high gloss lacquer, our guys painting, our guys putting stuff together, me making shit, my wife, whatever the hell it is that she does, selling things. There's a lot of that going on. So I do these projects just to get engagement from people and to create awareness of what it is that we do. So I got a chair. You guys have probably seen the chair I had on here. Kind of looks like a Star Trek chair right now, like Captain Kirk would sit in it, like he's on the Enterprise. And the point of that chair is to show off an old chair that was built by Ralph Lauren, of all people. Like, a lot of people don't know that Ralph Lauren makes furniture. But if you're the richest of the rich, you know that Ralph Lauren makes some of the best furniture. A lot of it's made in Italy, and it's beautiful stuff. But I'm making that chair just to show my customers that I can make a Ralph Lauren style chair with a Resplendent Crow high gloss lacquered finish, but mine is going to have brass. Because the Resplendent Crow is known for brass work, it's very rare that you meet a furniture maker that not only can make anything, but they can also paint it in the highest, most difficult finish and do all the metal work, right? We can weld it, we can polish it, we can do everything. And it's a very cool thing. And so people, when they see that, they start asking questions. And so I need to be working on these projects that, like I said, stir up this engagement. If they don't ask me, they're going to ask my wife, like, what the hell is this thing that I saw? The other day, I'll tell you guys, here's a quick story. So yesterday, I sold a faux bamboo break front credenza, right? I'm the only one that makes it, except for these fucking people in Macon, Georgia, which ripped off my design, which is hilarious. Like, you ever see that? I'll say those poppies of Macon, those people, they fucking ripped off my furniture. And I don't know if they're making it in America or if they're making it in Egypt, but they're just copying our stuff, right? Which is fucking bullshit. But anyway, point is that the customer saw my wife talking about that piece of furniture and just decided to buy it. Like, I'm sitting here replacing trim on my doors at home, and you hear the Shopify ching, and it's just, they saw my wife talking about that thing, and they just bought the furniture, right? And that's the thing, is that the engagement can lead to sales from things that you've made years ago, or things that you continue to make, but they just don't get as much eyeballs or traction as other pieces of furniture. So you have to constantly be playing this engagement game, which is something that, like I said, I don't think people talk about it enough, but I've got tons of furniture that I've just built over the last 8 years that sells, not constantly, but it sells throughout the year because they see us talking about it, or they see us working on something. They come in and they look at our stream, and then they see something else, and then it pings them to buy something, and they buy it, and that's kind of how that works. So point is, I have to be working on these projects, right? So I've got this massive 8-foot walnut sideboard behind me that I need to finish up. It needs to get done. And the content on that is going to be amazing, because I can show people that you can make a big 8-foot walnut sideboard with big 20-inch legs on it without having any kind of center support, and we do that by using steel. So that base, even though the whole cabinet looks walnutty, there's nothing about it that would look like steel. The entire support structure of that cabinet, it's all steel, so that you don't have to have anything in the middle that makes it look cluttered. Part of getting that really nice kind of MCM look that people on the West Coast really like is not having all that support. But if you'll notice, all that MCM style furniture, it's all about, 60, 70 inches maybe. And if it's any longer, it's going to have some kind of a plinth base around it, right? Because the truth is that you can't build cabinets much longer than about 7 feet, probably about 6.5 feet, because the gravity just weighs down. No matter how strong you make the structure, wood's just not designed to, the span of wood, you're only good for probably 70 inches, depending on what it is you do, because gravity is going to grab it. And I don't care what kind of wood you make it out of. You can make it out of, whatever hardwood is. I know what hardwood is these days, hickory or freaking maple, whatever. You can make it out of that stuff, and it's still going to bow. And I know that because I've got 200 pieces of furniture upstairs, starting from like the 1920s all the way up to probably the 1980s, and it all does it. There's no way around it, but if you use structural steel, you might be able to get with aluminum too, but structural steel has the strength, right, along that span to basically fight the deflection, right? Deflection is the drop in a span, right? And wood just can't do it. So anyway, but point is that I need to be working on those projects in order to get my customers to see the kind of stuff that we do here. And it's just, you're constantly pinging people, right? And you have to have new stuff, and you have to keep showing your old stuff to ping people enough to cause them to purchase, right? So yeah, so anyway, point is that I got those projects going on that I need to get done. I've got this like, here, I'll show you guys some more stuff here real quick. I got it right behind me with the intent of showing everyone. So I have to work on my finishes, right? Because painting a piece of furniture is very different than lacquering a stain gray piece of furniture. Okay, so start here with this. I got some mahogany for you guys. Okay, so this is just regular old African mahogany, right? And you can see it's got a nice glossy finish on it, and it has that glossy finish because that's what we're known for. When customers buy furniture from us, they don't want it to look like other people's furniture. They don't want to see some kind of matte type finish, which is what most furniture has. You'll see a lot of people, they put kind of waxes and things like that on top of their furniture. And while that stuff, looks nice and it's fine, most other manufacturers do a version of that. But what we do is everything's high gloss, right? So it's got to have high gloss. It's got to be super mirrory shine. And truth is that this needs more work. This needs a lot more work. And so I have to have the time to mess around with some different kinds of grain fillers. This has 3 coats of lacquer on it. And truth is it's going to need 7. It's going to need 7 in order to get the shine that we need to be able to look into it and see your reflection, right? Your wife has to be able to look at it and do her makeup. That's kind of the standard. And if we don't create that, it lets our customer down because that's exactly what they want. It has to have a mirror shine to it. So I need time to work on that kind of stuff. And if I'm constantly making vanities and china cabinets and sideboards and the repetitive furniture that makes me the money, I don't have time for this shit. It just takes a lot of time. So here's another piece. So that's hardwood, right? So then you have veneer acts completely different, right? So there's another thing. And this is part of making furniture. You have to learn the coating side. And what we do is a very unique coating. Most people don't do this kind of finish. And again, this isn't even shiny. This is just, I think it's like 3 or 4 coats at this point, but it needs a lot more work. And again, it's African mahogany. And one of the things that I do that I don't talk about a lot, I talk about my streams from time to time, is that on my really high-end furniture, I PPF the top of all of it, right? So you'll see a lot of people, they'll put glass on the top of their furniture, which is great. It works good, and it's very practical and very cheap. But I put PPF over everything. And it just makes it gleam. It basically doubles the shine, and it can stand up to a lot of abuse, but you have to let PPF cure, right? So you put the PPF on there like a car, and you have to let it set for a good week or 2 because that stuff, it's super malleable and pliable when you put it on, but after it starts to dry and it starts to harden, it becomes very hard, right? So it's very important that you take the time to do that. So, and I got one more for you guys real quick. So the other projects we have to do these walnut, right? So this is going to be just a kind of a glossy walnut. And this one, you can actually, so you see the grain in there? Like all that's got to go. Got to get rid of all that stuff. It's all got to go. So we'll fill all this stuff in. We'll block sand it dead flat, and then we'll top coat it, and we'll PPF the whole thing. But it takes time to learn this stuff. And what I have to learn now is I have to learn to do this stuff over big 15-foot spans, right? So how do you spray a 15-foot table? You can't, like you see a lot of people put waxes and oils and things like that. They do these natural finishes. And truth is, my customers don't want that. My money's not made doing what everybody else does. My money is made doing what's incredibly difficult. And unfortunately, it's very difficult to bring people in that know how to do this work. And when you teach them how to do it, it's insanely expensive when they fuck up. Like it's wildly expensive, not from a money standpoint, but just from a resource standpoint. You don't have the time already, and you got to come in, you got to fix all this stuff. So it's very difficult to hire people. But how do you spray a 15-foot table that's high gloss? How do you spray an 8-foot cabinet that's high gloss clear coat? It's all resources, guys. And truth is that I can do this. I can work as many hours as I want. I don't have to pay myself when I work extra hours. I don't make nothing. like I said, I get a base salary. My base salary is $4,000 a month. That's what my base salary is. And if I make money towards the end of the year, then I'm sitting pretty, But the truth is that you have to live within that budget every month of $4,000, And it doesn't matter if you work 1 hour or you work 100 hours a week. It's what it is, So anyway, so it's very difficult to get the resources to make all this stuff happen. And if I'm gonna, like I said, I got 15 years, right? If I don't figure all this stuff out in the next 15 years, like I'm in trouble. My company's gonna fall apart unless somebody can, like I said, if I can teach somebody to run this company that has the tenacity to want to do it. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what everybody else sees. If you guys are in the comments, hit the like button. My name's Eric. I own the Resplendent Crow. Here in St. Louis, Missouri, we're a furniture manufacturer. We're a paint company, and we do small 7 figures in revenue every year. We got like 7, 8 employees right now, and making furniture is tough. We do about 500 pieces a year. During COVID, I was doing almost 1,500. So we have the capacity to do a ton more work. You got to hire more people, of course, but truth is that this is the sweet spot. What I've noticed is you don't want to be doing just millions and millions and millions of dollars for the sake of doing, for basically you getting to say you make all this money. You have to be able to keep that money, right? It's great to do those massive sales, but if you're not making money doing it, like what's the point? You're just working hard for nothing, and that's no bueno, So over the years, I've learned that there are sweet spots. There's things that you want to invest your time in. There's things you don't want to invest your time in, and just chasing sales is not one of them. But if I don't work on these projects, guys, like it's going to be very difficult to keep the Resplendent Crow name and the Resplendent Crow brand at the head of the line when it comes to high gloss lacquered furniture and when it comes to really specific kinds of furniture like faux bamboo. And I know faux bamboo for guys don't give a shit about faux bamboo, and that's cool. It's not the point. Point is that we make a specific kind of furniture that's very unique to our company. And when people see it, they know that it's us, right? And what you guys need to know is if you guys get on Google right now, just Google faux bamboo furniture. Like that's all you have to Google. And you'll see the Modern Woodrunner, you'll see the Resplendent Crow, you'll see the Resplendent Home. That's how well versed we are in this, or well known we are in this particular kind of furniture. So it'd be like Googling river tables. I'm sure that Blacktail Studio guy would show up, top of the list for that. I'm trying to think some of the other furniture that's out there. I don't even know, but the point is that people are known for very specific kinds of furniture, and so I got to figure this thing out. I got to figure out how to, bring in the right people, grow these different product lines, and get this bitch to either be sold off to somebody in like 15, 20 years, or be able to give it to my kids or one of my employees or somebody that wants to take on the pain in the ass that it is to own a company and to run a company. And I don't know how you do it, guys. And there's not a ton of people commenting on this one, So I'm very curious, does anybody here want to own a company? Does anybody here want to, do what it is that we do when it comes to making furniture and doing cabinets? Like right now, I'm looking at growing kitchens. Like truth is, I've never thought of myself as being either a kitchen maker or a kitchen painter. The idea of making kitchens, I would never go into the kitchen game because so many people do it, right? You're basically competing with anybody with a CNC router is what it boils down to. And I've got a guy here that's got 2 of them, right? I'll talk about the CNC game here real quick. Let me finish this and I'll talk about the problems with CNCs that at least that I'm dealing with. But what we're going to do is, because we're so well known for high gloss lacquered, it's actually a thing to high gloss lacquer your rooms. Like if you're some rich person in the Northeast, it's not uncommon to see a house that has an entire room that is high gloss lacquered. And these rooms are like $100,000, $150,000 to do all the prep work and paint these rooms. It's very expensive. But it's now becoming a little bit in vogue to do kitchens. So I'm entertaining the idea right now of bringing in kitchens. Not making them, but just bringing them in, right? Doing them here in my factory, not on site. I'll never go to somebody's home. But if you want a kitchen, right, you got one of these massive kitchen companies, right, that normally would make the cabinets and paint the cabinets. I'll steal that work, right? So you can have the kitchen made and then have the cabinets. I'll pick them all up because we travel all over America anyway. We'll pick your entire kitchen up and we will paint everything. Paint it all, put it back together, and we'll bring it back to your home, and then your installers can install it. It's very tricky. right? It sounds amazing. Like, oh God, look at all that money. There's so much money in kitchens. And that's why everyone makes kitchens, right? There is so much money at it. I mean, I think every city in America has the company that makes kitchens, right? The best known company. And then you got your kind of your lower tiers down. But I would never try and compete in that space because frankly, I don't have the time. But anyway, if I could steal some of that business from the people that are painting kitchen cabinets, I mean, that's a shit ton of money, right? That's probably, I don't know, a couple hundred opportunities a year to paint kitchens. And I know a lot of guys might not even realize this, but there is more money in painting kitchens than anything you guys are doing, like anything. Because truth is that there's more houses than anything. Like there's millions and millions and millions of houses in America, and the wealthy people are always buying. They're always redoing their homes, even when sales are down, when there's depressions, recessions, all this kind of stuff, doom and gloom. It's still there's always customers. And I know this because I've just gone through it. It's like in private jets. Everyone knows at this point that I've been in the private jet industry for 20 plus years. And I've never been laid off. I've never had my hours cut. When all the recessions happened, we were slammed. And yes, I did have times when there were recessions where my companies laid off people, but they just made the people that they kept work harder and longer. And we just soaked up the money in overtime. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. The point is that wealthy people are always buying. And it's worse now than it's ever been because the gap between the haves and the have-nots has only gotten bigger, right? The hollowing out of the middle class the class size just gotten bigger, So anyway, point is that that's what I'm working on, But it all takes time. And how many kitchens are we going to mess up in learning how to paint a kitchen cabinet? Because painting a kitchen cabinet is very different than painting a piece of furniture. It's very different, and people might not understand this, but you can completely break down a cabinet, and if I can't, I will yank the back out. I'll make new backs because I've got a full furniture company here. We can make anything. But that's how we do a lot of this furniture stuff, is that we take off the old backs that were nailed on back in the day. We make new ones and we screw them on, right? Because we have to be able to pull all that stuff out. Because in order to paint a piece of furniture, you have to be able to take the back out. Otherwise you end up with overspray and it just makes it very difficult to get a very beautiful, pristine finish. It'd be the same thing for cabinets. These cabinet companies they'd want to put all their backs on with crown staplers, or they'll slide them in. I've seen that before. There's all kinds of ways. And the truth is that if we can't get a hold of the company, we have to yank out all the backs, right? And if we're painting the inside of a kitchen cabinet at all, and that might be my sales gimmick. My sales gimmick might be the inside will not be painted, right? We mask off the inside of the cabinet, just leave the rim, the face frame, 3-inch strips on the outside, and that's all we paint. Or unless it's an exposed outside. But a lot of kitchen companies now, they don't even paint the outside of cabinets anymore. What they do is they'll put some kind of a panel on the outside, right? So maybe you just paint the panel. But the point is that you have to come up with a system, right? Because we already have the labor and the knowledge to take furniture apart, fix any damage, make new doors, make new backs, drawers, whatever we have to do. We know how to mask things off. We know where to paint, where not to paint. We're good at painting multiple colors on a single piece of furniture. We can do all of that. But learning a completely new system with kitchens takes time, and it takes a lot of resources. And how many things will we mess up before we actually get it? I have no idea. So there's more resources. Okay. So anyway, I said I'd talk about CNCs. Okay. So this is the last thing I'm going to talk about today. I think we're up to 52 minutes. I'll talk to you guys about CNCs, right? Because everybody, I think at this point, has at least thought about getting a CNC or wanting to learn how to use CNCs, and they're an amazing technology, and I use them to a certain degree. But I use them for 10% of everything that I make is going to be a CNC type component, because the truth is that my customers aren't paying for CNC made stuff. They're just not, right? But I do have a product line, which I'm calling my Travers line, which is named after a city in Michigan, which I will have just be completely CNC cut. The whole thing will be CNC cut. We'll slap it all together assembly style, and I'll try and push that, right? You can get on the resplendentcrow.com right now, and you can look up Travers, and you'll see that I believe that I have the dresser up there right now. But it's going to be much lower price point than my normal handmade dressers, right? So I think the Travers one's like $3,800, maybe it's $4,000, something like that. But normally I don't make a dresser for under $7,000. I can't. At the end of the day, we have to pay Americans here. We have to pay American wages. We have to pay American benefits. We have to pay American electricity, American insurance, American, right? We don't outsource this stuff. like a lot of people are doing. So I can't hand make something that takes me 40 hours, maybe even longer, who knows, 40 hours for, $3,000. Like, it's not happening. You can't have a big facility like we have here and charge that kind of money. It's just not good. The math doesn't math, right, as they say. So, okay, so CNCs, pros and cons. Here's some crush everyone's dreams with CNCs. So, I've been working with CNC routers for 25 years at this point, mostly in aerospace. So, we did all the 3-axis, 5-axis, all this kind of stuff, everything, carbon fibers, Kevlars, fiberglasses, you name it, Delrin, phenolics, all the materials you could possibly think of. And they're fantastic. I love CNCs. But here's the problem that I run into as a custom furniture maker, and learning to put together product lines, repeatable product lines using CNC routers. The back and forth between you and the CNC operator or the programmer has to be like, you have to be like simpatico. Like, so I think that's right, simpatico. Like, you have to be almost like be one, because what happens if there is one mistake between the G code going into the router and then that part coming to you, if there's a problem there, it's very difficult to make that change to get it right, because it means you're not going to see the issue right away. You're just not. Odds are, it's going to be a mislocated hole. Maybe you got a rabbit that's not deep enough, a dado's in the wrong place. You're not going to see it until you start putting that whole thing together, which, again, it's not going to be the minute you get that part back, right? It's going to be week, 2 weeks after you get that stuff in. And who knows how many parts you cut before you found out that problem, right? If you got, 10 sets of parts coming in, all those parts are wrong. And this is the thing that I struggle with, is that back and forth with my CNC programmer. Okay, and I don't have a router in my facility. I have a guy down the way in Valley Center who has several routers, and they're top of the line, Shop Sabers. I mean, they're badass, and he's really good at what he does. But I've been doing this for 20 years. This guy's been doing CNC routers for, like, I want to say three to 5 years, and we can't get everything perfect. And the thing is that the guy that's running the CNC routers, he's taking my information, which is in SolidWorks, and then he has a whole bunch of different programs that he's running on his end. Okay, and there's all different kinds of programs, and there's pre-made, almost like apps now for CNC routers. So if you have like, you're installing Bloom hinges, right? There's an actual program for doing Bloom hinges or Bloom undermount slides. There's programs that automatically settle the offsets. So if you do anything that's even slightly goofy, you can't fix all that. You can't change it unless you go in and make your own program to locate all the slides, which most people aren't doing. And this is the issue with CNC routers, is that the technology is becoming so, is the word ubiquitous? Ubiquitous? Like, everybody's using the same technology. Everyone's using the same programs. Everyone's using the same everything, that when you come into a custom type situation, it's very difficult, if you're not the programmer and the maker, to get those changes quickly and accurately. This is my struggle. And again, if you're a programmer, you're someone that does all this kind of stuff, you may completely disagree with it. I'm just telling you my struggle as someone who, again, I have a vast knowledge of CNC routers. At least I believe that I do. I don't actually own one or operate one, but I've just done it for so long. I've worked in the space. I've been in engineering long enough. Like, I understand how all this stuff works very well. And it's a struggle for me. So it's very hard for me to grow my production speed on the custom end utilizing CNC technology. It's very difficult, and my customer doesn't want their stuff made with a CNC router. They want it to be handmade. They want to know Eric made it. That's really important to them, that the Resplendent Crow made their piece of furniture. It's very different than having something CNC cut. So that's kind of my struggle right now, which is, again, part of why I'm trying to create this CNC line of furniture, the Travers line that I was telling you guys about. I'm trying to get a line of furniture that is known to be made CNC cut, and that is of really good quality and still has the Resplendent Crow finish that is more accessible to other people. And it's a real struggle. And if I had the time to just go back and forth all the time, I think I could solve the problem, but it's gotten to a point where there's so many little things that are wrong with every program. It's very difficult to dial them all in, and I just struggle with it. So, okay, we have Paraxic. Is it Paraxic Gaming? Okay, As a programmer, most of the time, the product can still be built. The program is either the customer or the boss man demands things to be absolutely precise, but fail to have cutoff account. No, that's cool. That's good insight, man. I appreciate you adding to the discussion. From it, yeah, and that's another thing. Material thicknesses, like I'll jump into that. But yeah, no, you're 100% right, and that's a great point. Or they change hardware halfway through the job. Yeah, no, I would never do that. But yeah, that's the difference between like being a boss who tells other people what to do, and then being the boss who does the work, right? It's very difficult to go, oh, that's bullshit, when you're the guy that builds it, right? So that's it's very rare you're gonna find me, screaming at myself. It's not gonna happen. And if I mess something up, it's my fault no matter what. Like, I don't have other people to yell at per se, but with the CNC programmer that I have, it's not necessarily that he can't make the changes that he made. It's that it's hard for me to articulate what I need done in a very quick, seamless fashion, because it means I have to go to my computer, right? I have to pull up the engineering. I got to change the engineering, send it over to my guy, and then note the changes that I made so that he can then change the program for whatever, part it is that we're running, whether it's a part or an entire kit of parts. Like, it just kind of depends on what's going on. And then, does he know do we need to run that across all the other kits that we're running, because it's such a freaking problem for me. So, okay, or neglect to mention details about changes on how, and I get, and this is what I'm trying to talk about to everyone. It's not this necessarily anybody's fault or a lack of skill or a lack of, like, even awareness. It's a lack of resources, and I'm sure you can attest to this. Okay, let's see. That's my biggest pet peeve, though, is material thickness. You want exact measurements. You got to have exact math. No getting around it. Yeah, and that's a great thing about a CNC, and also the shitty thing about a CNC, because as a fabricator, if I have, I'm under the gun, right? I got to build something, and all I have is that UV coated, cheap shit, 3/4 inch shit that they're making from Malaysia that everyone uses for kitchen cabinets now. That stuff is 70/100ths thick, right? 0.70, right? Whereas true plywood that I make all my furniture out of is generally 0.75. Like, it's going to be true 3/4 inch. If I'm out of one thing, I can just switch over to another, and I can auto-calculate it in my head because I've been doing this forever. My engineer or my programmer can't do that, and he's not supposed to do that. And that's a thing where I would just be like, just fucking change the thing, because this is the material we have. I've done it for 20 years. He hasn't done it for 20 years. He has no idea what the material thickness is, because it's not his job to measure thicknesses of material, right? It's to get the right engineering so that he can then program his stuff, and then it works seamlessly. It's that lack of resources, right? Which is why you need an engineering liaison, which works great if you're a multinational conglomerate with billions of dollars in revenue that you can splash around to do all this stuff. Like, I don't have that, So let's see, we use 20 to 30 seconds most of the time. However, we've been getting, and that's exactly it, right? Like, the material thickness changes, and furniture makers, people who are in the furniture space, this is why most people are switching over to using that UV coated shit, because it's very consistent, right? You're going to see it's like 9 or 11 plies. It's very consistent. It's very flat. It's very easy to work with. But the main thing is that it's consistent, right? The reason you use particle boards and MDFs today is because of the consistency. It has nothing to do with the quality of the material. It's the consistency, because your programmer has to be able to program that material in on the CNC and run it, just keep running sheets all day long, pumping out parts for assemblers to then put this shit together, and it goes together like Legos. If you have an inconsistent material, like I've literally got a vanity right behind me that has that UV coated shit. Well, but the guy that I had in here making dados, like the only material that he had for putting the base panel was 3/4 inch material, right? The only bit that he had was a 3/4 inch router bit. So he's hand cutting a dado, right, using a 3/4 inch router bit for material that's only 0.70 thick, 70/100ths of an inch. So then you got to go and you got to shim the bottom side of it with basically a piece of backer or a piece of, you can use edge banding, whatever. But you got to fill that dado in, because you have to have a tight joint. So this is the thing about CNCs, and I know I might be losing some people on this kind of stuff, but this is the technology side of making furniture today that just sucks, and again, I wish I had a CNC in my shop with a programmer that just sat right next to me, and me and him could just be going through the programs line item by line item, and making sure that every single dado is whatever the material thickness needs to be, 0.7, 0.71, whatever it might be, 0.75. We make sure all the dados are the correct, 3/4 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch, and just every dado is exact, right? It would be so good to have that, but I don't have that, So I have to make sure that when I'm designing all of my programs, I'm thinking about it like when I'm designing all my furniture, I'm thinking about it like a programmer, So I'm thinking, okay, that Z-axis is coming down. It's got to run that pass. It's going to run one pass, 3/4 inch bit, at whatever, 3,000 RPMs, whatever that speed might be. He's going to run that pass, and he's going to pop over. He's going to run this dado along here. Then he's going to come in with his whatever 16th inch bit. He's going to pop in all the pilot holes for all of the hinges and all the slides and whatever. That's how I have to think about it, and honestly, it kind of sucks. So these are. That's why I titled this talk. It's just resources. There's such a lack of resources, and it's not always money. Like, people just say it's, oh God, if I just had $1 million, I could do anything. Like, if I just had this money and I didn't have to, if I had this tool, if I had this person, if I had, and there's just so much more to it. I've told the story a million times of how I've had something like $500,000 in my bank account, and I was paying studios to make me the next Kim Kardashian. Me and my wife were gonna do HGTV. We had a studio come in and we did 8 episodes of how to build furniture, right? The Resplendent Crow. So if you go to the Resplendent Crow on YouTube, we don't ever talk about it, but there is a Resplendent Crow on YouTube. You'll see some of the episodes there. We did post them, and it just never got any traction, but it's kind of entertaining. It's very humble beginnings to growing into a massive company, and then pissing the money away on all kinds of fun stuff. I can tell you guys tons of stories. Okay, we got Liam. Okay, Liam, I've seen you before. If you have to deal with that, is it better for you when it's over or undershoots? What exactly are you saying? If you have to deal with that, is it better for you when you over or undershoot? Undershoots what? Just because I said a lot of things there. Let me know what you guys are, what you're talking about. It's like, over is always better. So, okay. Paraxic knows. So that's, apparently that's going to be better. You can always cut your spanners and stretchers down. Oh yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, no, that's okay. Now I see what you guys are saying. Yeah, you can always take more off. It's very hard to add more, right? Like we know how that is as men. You can always be too big, man. It sucks to be too short, though. There's nothing you can do about that. And that's just kind of how it goes. I just it's always better because you can always cut. I mean, woodworking, right? I think you guys probably heard this. Woodworking is the art of reduction. That's literally what it means. Like, we just reduce down large material into smaller material. We make shit out of it. And that's kind of what it is, So anyway, good talk to you guys. But like I said, this is the stuff that I'm dealing with, and it's like I have enough money that I could technically hire another employee, but I'm too afraid that if I hire another employee, especially a really expensive employee, that my sales are going to continue to come in the way that they are, right? And the idea is that, well, if I spend more time creating new projects, new interesting things for people to see that they will, like, know, and want, that will lead into more continuous revenue, which will allow me to hire more people. But it's just tough, guys. Like, this is it. And this is why I do these streams. Like, this is not trying to sell you boner pills and, better help, subscriptions and stuff like that. It's just like, it's a business. And it's very difficult. And I didn't even do what's in the shop. Normally I do what's in the shop and show everyone kind of what's going on. But I didn't even have time to do that this week. I've just been so damn busy. But I think we need more people starting businesses. Like, I really do. I think we need more people. And I've said this before, and it's not very common, but kids are labor, guys. Like I know that everyone thinks that their kids are the most special kids of the world, and they're going to have it so much better than you had it. And it's going to be better for everyone. And, you sacrifice everything so that your kids can have something better than you had and all that kind of stuff. And I don't see it that way. We need more people starting businesses and bringing their kids into their businesses. And this is one of the things that, as a dad, really pains me, because my kids want nothing to do with our company. Like the thing that provided everything, they want nothing to do with it. The idea of being dirty, they don't like that. The loud noises, they hate noises. They do not like people. I've noticed that. My kids don't like to hang out with people. One of my kids does, which is cool. But my kids don't generally like people. They're kind of solitary, which is fantastic for woodworker, right? As woodworkers, we love solitary work. You know, as tradespeople, we like solitary work. We kind of like being in our own space, you know, but no interest. They don't like the idea of not knowing where their paycheck's coming from. I know like that's a big thing. But I think if we had more people creating businesses, there'd be less of a consolidation of everything, which we have a massive consolidation problem in America. And it's because people have just given up on the idea of running their own companies, of trying to grow a company, you know, hearing a customer tell you that your product sucks, you know, we get these people on YouTube, you know, just talking shit basically. And, you know, the idea that people have to create something, put it out there in the hopes that somebody else will buy it, right? They don't want the rejection. They don't like the idea of putting a piece of furniture out there and nobody buying it, right? That hurts, right? You put all this time into it, so I don't, like I said, my kids don't want anything to do with that. I don't know about other people's kids, you know, but I've got one kid that I'm hoping, man, I can get him into building some stuff. But like all he wants to do is everything digital, you know? So I'm hoping I can get that kid to come in here and maybe he's going to be a cameraman. Maybe I'll continue to be the star of the show and he can just record me making furniture. Maybe I can get him into editing. Maybe he just wants to do editing and all that kind of stuff. But the truth is that all the video editors, guys, they're all in the Philippines. I wouldn't pay my own kid to be a video editor. Why would I? I could pay someone, you know, $10 a day. You know, it's just like and it sounds harsh, but I mean, that's the life of a business owner. Like you have to make those equations. And yes, of course I would hire my own kid. I'd pay him, you know, an exorbitant amount of money to do something that I could pay somebody else to do for significantly less money. But truth is that if I'm going to get my kids to do this kind of stuff, like I have to get them in here. I almost have to like drag them in here to do this stuff. And I don't know what the fuck we do. I don't know how to get these kids interested other than in the very beginning when they're very young to let them to basically make it so they know no other way, right? So I've got one kid that's PhD student, right? No job, never had a job. Probably just going to be in academia forever. I got another kid who loves picking up part-time jobs in the summer when she's not at school, but all she wants to do is do school. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. No interest to work here, though. Zero. Would rather go work at Target. So I don't know if that's it's an indictment of me and my company or my wife and what it is that we do. I have no idea. But then I got another kid who I never see, who I'm hopefully going to start seeing more. I'm hoping that I can get him into making stuff because he kind of likes working with his hands and he's into cars and hopefully there's something there and maybe we can get him to do this kind of stuff. But man, I don't know what we do to get these younger kids to do what it is that we do. Other than telling them there's no other option, right? And that's when I say kids are labor, that's what I mean. Like we let these kids have their pick of anything, right? And the truth is that the stuff that they chose is not valuable to society. It's valuable to them and it's valuable when somebody else is paying for it, right? When you have to go to college and the taxpayer's picking up, the taxpayer is guaranteeing the loan for which you get to go to school. That's fun, but you don't have to pay for it, right? And it's very. I think that people would choose something different if they had to work while they were going to school. You know, they would choose something different if they had the option of working for their family business or working for the family business and paying for school. Like this idea that you can just do whatever you want and you don't have to pay for it for a long time, I think is really, it's really stunted the growth of our society. You know, it's a side tangent. I'm not going to go into that. Okay, more comments. I'll listen to what you guys are saying. Your shit's probably more interesting anyway. Okay, yeah. That scary part is not knowing if you're going to make money. If I go bankrupt, I'm toast. Literally live in Florida. Worst place to be homeless, especially in yeah, right. Thank God there's air conditioning, you know. Otherwise, no one would even be in Florida, I don't think. That man, and that's the scariest thing, man. I'll tell you how I made the plunge, okay? I had 3 failed companies, and I started all those companies while I was working in aerospace. And aerospace always paid me really well. I was a cabinet maker. And we worked with a lot of composites, Nomex, honeycomb sandwich panels, and like I said, all the materials, Delrin, nylons, phenolics, whatever, Kevlar, carbon fiber, all of it. I worked with all of it. I mean, shaping it, whatever it is you can think of. But every time I would try and start my own furniture company. And truth is, I didn't have the skills. But every time I failed, I learned something, and then the desire never went away. Even though it failed every time, it never went away till finally it didn't fail. And the time that it didn't fail, I was working here at West Star Aviation in Alton, Illinois, which is right here by St. Louis, where my factory is. And we got a customer who bought a vintage piece of furniture from us. Didn't even buy a custom piece of furniture, bought a vintage piece of furniture, and just loved the finish and was really happy. And he had an apartment on Park Avenue in New York. Couldn't see Central Park, but it was pretty damn close. It was like 2 blocks away. Anyway, that guy, he asked me to build him a shoe cabinet, or asked my wife if we could build a shoe cabinet, and we said sure. And so I got in SolidWorks, right, my CAD program that I've been using for probably 15 years at this point. And I designed up this little shoe cabinet. It had 2 doors on it, but it had a metal base, right? A metal base, and it had brass feet, screw-on brass feet. And it was really nice. And I took a lot of time to do it. And anyway, he agreed to buy it. And he paid me something like, it was like $7,000 to build this thing. And so I built it, and we lacquered it, and we delivered it. And truth is that when my delivery guy was delivering it, so think about New York apartments, they have very tiny elevators. Every entryway is super tiny. The doors that go into apartments are super tiny because things were smaller back in the 30s when all this shit was built. And anyway, the packer, the delivery guy, put that cabinet on in, and because it had sliding doors in it, we didn't secure the doors, very well, and one of the doors came down and it got damaged. And man, just ruined me. Like, I was just a wreck. And we're just like, oh my God, how am I gonna pay to fix this thing? It's in New York, blah, 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 blah. Well, guy calls me up, tells me what happened. We're just like, oh man, like what how are we gonna take care of this? And so we got the idea, well, you know what, we'll just go to New York. We just have to eat it. We're just gonna have to eat it, And we called the guy up, we're like, hey man, we're gonna come fix this thing. We're gonna fly out there, and we're gonna bring some goodies with us, and we're gonna get you all fixed up. And he was like, great, why don't you just stay at my apartment? And so we got to spend several days just hanging out like millionaires in New York. It was fucking awesome. Like, we just had a great time. You go downstairs, you're getting the pizza and the coffee, and you're going to the bodegas, and you're checking out the Met, and you're just, Central Park. It was amazing. It was such a great time, and it was from a mistake, okay? So I did that, and we were able to fix it up, and it looked great, and the customer was happy. Continues to be a customer to this day. Great experience. That happened, right? So while we're there in New York dealing with what could have been a complete catastrophe, we got an order for something called a Zane credenza. And it was a cabinet that, again, I built on SolidWorks. Very basic cabinet, and I sell 50 of them a year in all different sizes. We got an order for one of those. One credenza was $7,000. I think it was $7,000. I don't remember exactly. It might have been $6,200. But point is that when that happened, we just realized, oh shit, like, these are big money-making cabinets. Like, I probably don't have to go to work anymore. And so my wife was already doing the Resplendent Crow. I was working in aerospace, but I was helping her all the time. And then eventually it was just like, I just quit. Like, I put in my notice, and I quit my job, and I never went back. And I just kept making furniture and putting a little bit of faith in it. But it was having those 2 big wins that allowed me to take that chance. And truth is, dude, like the fear of losing it all and not having enough money, you can always go back to your job. And I tell you that as an employer. Like, I've had people quit for me, went to work for other people, and truth is that most of the time I would hire them back, unless they're just a shit employee. But if you're a good employee, your employer will always hire you back. And that's just the truth of it. It's the fear of failing that keeps a lot of people from taking that chance. And I'm not saying it's easy, man. Like, I'll be the first to tell you it's not easy. Like, it's the scariest thing you'll ever do. You're giving up all the benefits. I haven't had healthcare in 6 years. I haven't had dental in 6 years. I don't have anything. Like, what I've got is a growing company. I've got a ton of money in the bank, but I spend most of it every month. It seems like a lot of money, but your payroll, your facility, your incidentals and things like that, like, you just burn it up all the time, which for most people, when they work for somebody else, is how their life is anyway, because most people live paycheck to paycheck. Like, I very much live paycheck to paycheck still. So I don't know if that's helpful, man. I just tried to, that was my story of how I was able to make that plunge and kind of what I was doing. And even in a catastrophe, you can make lemons out of lemonade, as they say. So, all right, more comments. Okay, let's see here. Yes, here I can go. Yeah, if you're in Florida, I probably do half my business in Florida. So you're in an area right now that is, even though things are slowing down and you hear all the doomers talking about house prices cratering and people not, people are leaving Florida. It's bullshit, okay? I sell tons of furniture to Florida, but it's just the wealthier people. They're always buying. If you can develop a customer base, even if it's just one person, right? You grow that one person into two, and that two into four, and that four into eight. It may take you 1 year, it may take you 10 years, but it can be done. And the truth is that you have to stay in the game. Even if you work for somebody else, you have to stay in the game while working on your company until you can make that plunge, and it's, there's never an easy way to do it. I'm sorry, man. It's just, there's no easy way. You'll get the opportunity, and you have to put yourself you have to put yourself in a place that you can take that opportunity when it presents itself. Okay. All right. Maybe you could, get him doing 3D modeling, and then you can go build. Yeah, no, that's the funny thing about it is, so the funny thing is the guy that does this for me, he's just like me. So not only does he do CNCs, but he owns a massive screen printing company, right? So he wanted to get out of screen printing and get into CNC games because he hated dealing with employees. He just hated hiring people, firing people, trying to keep people on task, and all the bullshit that comes from dealing with employees, dealing with, the maintenance of a big facility. I mean, this guy's, he was already doing millions of dollars making t-shirts. Excuse me. And this was his plan to get out of it. So he doesn't have the time to do any of that stuff. He has just enough time to do what he's going to do, and eventually he'll probably get out of screen printing and just do CNC cut parts full time. I don't know. But yeah, it'd be nice if I could. I said I'll get somebody. Eventually, I'm going to get the opportunity. I could buy a CNC. I really could. But the capital. So to buy a CNC right now, to buy a good one, it's 60 grand. Minimum. And you'll see them online for 10,000, 20,000. But the truth is that you need a massive, heavy steel machine, right? And it's just Shop Saber is the company that makes the best CNCs in America. I know other people disagree with me. There's other companies that are Italian, like Laguna. They make good stuff. There's lots of great companies, but the truth is that they're the company. And if I was going to buy one, that's where I'd buy it from. And it comes fully assembled, and it's ready to go. But it's a big expense, right? And then you got to have the electrical, right? So you got to make sure you got the electrical on site. You got a vacuum system, vacuum pumps, and all these kind of things. Then by the time you're into a CNC 100 grand, by the time it's all said and done, right? And you can't even use it. You got to have someone that can operate it, So it's a big expense to take that on. And I said I could buy the CNC, but man, I don't know if I could hire the person and deal with. It's the lack of resources. Yes, got the money, don't have the people, right? Got the people, right? Don't have the sales. So we just bounce around a lot, so it's very difficult. Okay, let's see here. Blender. Yep. I've heard about Blender. Blender's free and has tons of tutorials. It could be a bit. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And the truth is, I don't have the time to even learn it. I've heard of it. People have told me about it when I was designing. I design hardware, brass hardware for all my furniture, and people have told me to use Blender for that. Apparently, it's really good. I just don't. I don't have the time. Okay, I got nothing. Credit to credit, ATM, car payments. Yeah, no, I get it, dude. Let's see. We're so slammed with work right now. It's not even funny. Well, that's good. At least you're busy, right? You can be. There's a lot of people that, like I said, I've been there too, where you don't have any fucking money, and you're working all the time. It feels like all you're doing is working to pay everybody else, right? You don't even keep nothing. Like I said, it happens, but I tell this to my wife all the time. I tell her life is long. That almost sounds like a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing. Like you have time to wait for the right opportunity, right? To work on little things here and there to put yourself in the position that opportunity, when it presents itself, is something you can capitalize on. Life is long. You got a lot longer than you think. Every contractor in Florida is giving us work. That's freaking awesome. I'm curious, you have to name like the business, but what kind of business are you in exactly? Are you running a CNC for kitchens? Are you programming for the just general contractors? Like you're in the furniture business? I'm curious what it is that you're making. Let's see. We love our oh yeah. They make some badass. I would love to have one of their panel saws. Hops is good for programmers, but big investment, but saves so much time. Hops I'll have to look that up. I'm not even sure what that is exactly. Like I said, a lot of the stuff's over my head. I just don't have the time to research it. I'm one of these people, like what I like to do is I'm one of these guys that just jumps in. A lot of people like to research things. They're like, well, what's the best this and what's the best that? And truth is like me, if I wanted to jump into the CNC game right now, what I would do is I would just go buy what's called a millwright CNC. They're made in Georgia. You have to assemble them, but they actually have tool changers on. They're like 15 grand. And what I would do if I wanted to just dabble in it and kind of learn is I would just go spend the 15 grand, have that machine delivered. I'd spend, whatever, a couple of weekends putting the thing together, and then I would just start fucking around. Like I would take my SolidWorks and I'd start, figuring out how I get that to go over to, whatever Mach, whatever people are using. I don't even know what the programs are people are using these days, but I would just start learning all this stuff, learning how to get the machine to move on the X and the Y and figure out the Z and the homing. And I would just start messing around with it until I figured it out. That's how I've done everything in my life. But as a business owner, as someone who's getting a little bit older, I know that I can't do that. I don't have the time. But that's what I would do. I mean, to be quite honest with you, that's how I would learn it all. Okay, let's see here. That's good, man. We've got Jean-Claude in here. Okay, cabinets. Okay, yeah. Really, anything that be screwed or stable. Yeah, and that's again what I talked about earlier in the stream. It's like if that's what you want to do, I would never try and compete in the kitchen game because I know that I'm years behind in the technology. But I also know that my design skills are far and away better than most people's. And I can design things that most people can't do because I'm a builder. A lot of people today are designers. They actually go to school for design, right? I spent a bunch of time in Savannah, and they've got a school there called SCAD, the Savannah College the Savannah College Art Institute or something like the Institute of Design. And kids just go to school to learn to design stuff. And that just blows my mind. Like, the idea of going to school to learn to design shit is just so wild. Like, why not just go make it? Like, that's the best way to learn to make a design anything is just to go build stuff. At least that's what I've always thought, So, but yeah, cabinets, man. I bet you guys are just slammed. Like, I hear so much doom and gloom about Florida, and I can't. I mean, I go to Florida twice a month to deliver furniture, right? So we probably deliver. God, I don't know. I say that twice a month. Sometimes it's once a month, but once or twice a month is what I'll say. But we probably deliver, I don't know, I'm probably at least 10 pieces a month. Maybe not that many. Maybe 10-ish pieces a month down to Florida, and it's whether it's custom furniture, vintage furniture, whatever it might be. I looked at opening a retail location by a place called Circa Who, which I believe is around West Palm Beach. But real estate is just too expensive. I just can't afford it. I can't spend the money. I'd have to take out a massive loan and then really commit to doing it. But I don't know. The retail is the place to be in furniture. Online is just, unfortunately, it's cheap. It works. The advertising model that we have works okay, and we're just kind of committed to doing the internet-based thing right now. Okay, let's see. Screwed, stapled. Hops is a intermediate language. It has conditions and variables which make programs modular. Okay, well, I'm going to write that down real quick. So, man, I appreciate that. I will do a little bit of Google research just for my own kind of curiosity. Something I'm going to have to learn at some point. Okay, I have a single program that spits out upper and base cabinets. So there's, yeah, well, you know what I'm talking about. Like I said, a lot of programmers today, like it's almost like they have, like I called it apps. It's probably not apps, they're probably more like programs, but it's like there's people that are making programs and apps specifically for the CNC game, and it's just, they have it all. And it's just, again, like you said, it just spits them out. You don't have to design anything. All my furniture, everything I make, I design everything. I make every panel. There's no standards for anything that I do. I upscale things, right? And I downscale things. But again, I go in and I actually physically redesign every piece of furniture, unless I scale it up in my head, which I do quite a bit. But it's not scalable as a business. It's very difficult to take what I do, which I can build anything. Like there's nothing in the furniture space that I can't build in my head. Like I look at anything and I just see an exploded view and I start whacking out parts. The math is done automatically in my head. Very hard to find people that can do that kind of stuff because it's taken me a long time. It's very difficult to even teach people that stuff because, again, it just takes so much freaking time. So, yeah, the CNCs are unfortunately, are going to be the future, I think, unless we can get more people to make things. We can get more people to generationally learn stuff and to get really good at it. Okay, let's see here. What else we got? Parix. See, there's tons of money down there. They're getting between 3 and 4 for decent man. Yeah, and that's what I sell mine for. It's 3 to 4 for powder room vanities, and anything that's in the 70 inches or above. Like I don't do anything for less than 8K. It's so expensive to make stuff nowadays. With the labor. The materials aren't so bad, but man, the fucking labor is it's out of control. I meant CNC code program. Our design software is ancient. Yeah. Okay. Well, man, I appreciate I appreciate the back and forth. I appreciate the interaction. And like I said, I've dealt with a couple people on here that have been CNC programmers, and it's like I said, it's a whole other ball of wax, man. Like I said, I need to get one of you guys to show me the CNC game. Like I said, I need to. At some point, I probably just have to spend the money and buy a really nice router and pay an operator to come in, because like I said, with what I know about design, if I could get a CNC programmer to work in tandem with me, like I did when I worked in aerospace, it'd be fantastic. We could create custom pieces, cut out a lot of the parts, because again, we know the thicknesses as fabricators, and just make the changes on the fly. Like when we can do that, man, that would really speed up my custom side. But until then, I mean, shit, it's going to be tough, it's going to be difficult. So anyway, what am I in here? I'm at 90 minutes. That's pretty good, guys. I appreciate everyone taking the time and participating in the discussion and listening to me talk about the resource issue. I try to do talks every day. I try to do around 5 o'clock now, but it's getting tough, So, but I'm gonna keep trying to do the streams. And again, everyone has a great Memorial weekend. Again, remember what makes America great. My wife is from India. All of my workers are from all different kinds of countries. I'm the only white guy where I work. My wife's from India. Like I said, two of my shippers are from Croatia, which I guess those are technically white guys. My painter is from Mexico. One of my sanders, both my sanders, I believe, are from, oh gosh, it's Honduras or Guatemala. I don't remember which. And one of my cabinet makers is from Syria. So very diverse group of people. But they all came to America for the same thing, right? America's a land of opportunity. We can do all kinds of stuff here. And when people try and tell you that America's not what it used to be and America's going downhill, talk to someone from another country, right? Because truth is that America is the fucking shining city on the hill. It always has been, and it always will be, as long as we keep doing what it is we're doing here. We keep making things. We keep teaching people how to do things. We bring people into this country, and we teach them things. We show them what's cool about owning a home, right? We show them what's cool about having a garage and having an extra car, and we show them what it's like to, to have a piece of property, that you can go bust out a mower and go mow, plant some flowers, plant a tree, take your kids out, put up a swing, these kind of things. These are very American things. And we want people from all over the world coming here to do this. So we want them to do it legally, and we want them to do it through some kind of a controlled process. But we want people here doing this work and teach people it's okay to work outside. It's okay to, breathe dust. It's okay to, work on a skyscraper. It's okay to pour concrete. It's okay to weld. It's okay to do a lot of these jobs. And the last couple generations have been told that they're above that, right? That they're going to go to college and they're going to be white collar people, and they don't want to be one of those dirty people that has to work hard in the, digging ditches, right? Ditch diggers, right? We don't want that here in America, So it's Memorial Day, and all the people that came before us that created this way of life, all those people busted their ass, right? They all worked, what do they say? Down in the mud, right? It's all these people did this stuff, and they fought and died, and a lot of people gave everything to have what it is that we have here. And like I said, I work 60, 70 hours a week, and breathing dust is loud, it's noisy, get to create stuff, and it's awesome. I want everybody to have it, but we got to protect it, right? Freedom isn't free. And I hope anyone that served or anyone that thinks about serving, it's a good thing. And what we fight for here in America is very unique. It's very unique. And I know that because, again, I'm married to an immigrant. I got a lot of immigrant workers that work for me. And it's very unique, this thing that we have here. So don't ever let anybody talk shit on America because there's nobody here that thinks any other place in the world is better than this place. It's only Americans that think that there's other places in America that are better than America. You'll never meet an immigrant that thinks that Mexico is better than America. Won't happen, right? You never meet an Indian. Entire culture of India, their whole purpose in life is to get to America. Like, right? How would you feel as an American if your whole upbringing you were taught, oh God, get educated because you got to get to India, right? Or you got to get out of here so that you can get to Mexico and go where the real success is, right? No, we live here, we have it all here, So just remember that, and people fought really fucking hard to make that possible, and we don't want to let anybody take that away from us. It's the greatest place on earth. greatest place on earth. And we're gonna make some cool furniture. We're gonna have some cool business. We're gonna get the next generation, and we're gonna straighten them out. And we're gonna get them doing this good thing and contributing to what we have here in America. So anyway, everyone have a great weekend, and I'll yak to you later.